So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world of ours. It is 7 a.m. on the eastern coast of Australia, 5 p.m. on the eastern coast of the US, and we are live on the radio with White Wolf, a radio show about shamanism, and my name is Jonathan Wolf, known as White Wolf. For the past couple of months, we've been doing this live radio show, and very honoured and with the deepest gratitude, I say to all of you listeners that are out there and everybody that comments on my show and everything like that, I wish you gratitude and blessings, and honoured that you're sharing my true path and my journey, and hopefully these discussions that I've had over the last couple of months has resonated with you to help you on your path and starting your path into shamanism or any genre of spiritual work. As I'm a firm believer that shamanism, obviously being earth-based and we're all down here on earth, is all about and created the base for numerous religions that are out there at the moment. So I did a little bit of a live video prior to coming online and onto the radio show this morning to basically just drop a hint on what today's topic would be on the show. And in that, I mentioned that today we'll be touching on the use of herbs and the use of crystals that I use, or predominantly use, and obviously the other side of things, which is the plant medicine, which is used, or plants that are used by shamans all over the world. Obviously, you know, different cultures have different practices, and here in Australia they use a lot of indigenous plants for purpose of the medicine, and my roots being Norse and Viking and the UK, I use a lot of the UK plants and herbs such as mistletoe, etc., and hops flowers, whatever. So we'll go into a little bit more detail in the use of those later on, as I use quite a bit of them in my healing. But firstly, it's all about starting your true path into shamanism, which I spoke about briefly in one of my previous shows. And before we get onto that, if you do want to talk to me via a telephone call or via Facebook, you can go on to the Beacon of Light radio chat page, request permission to join, and then comment under my little banner, and I'll see your comments. I see already somebody's put a comment on there. Good morning, Wendy. And Charity, obviously, is my person, beautiful soul, and so honoured, and I respect her totally. She does a wonderful job on the show, and I'm happy and glad to call her a friend. So she does a lot of work behind the scenes. So if you go onto the Facebook page, Beacon of Light Radio Chat, you'll be able to leave a comment or a question that you may have in relation to what type of herbs or crystals that I use, or if you need any questions answering in relation to a crystal that you might be using and need a bit more detail, I'm happy to answer those today. But if you would like to talk to me one-on-one, we do have 5 numbers for you to call. Obviously, in different countries, it's a different number. So if you've got a pen and paper handy, in Australia, the telephone number that you need to dial into is obviously 02 8318 0094. In the US, it is +1 260 222 6490. In the United Kingdom, it's +44 20-332-152-42. And when you dial into the numbers, you're going to be asked for a conference ID number, as the calls will be going through our Skype business platform. And the conference ID number that you'll need for today is 676-522-17. So with that being said, hopefully we will have a couple of callers calling in, and if not, and you're a bit shy of going live on radio, just click onto the Beacon of Light radio chat page and comment under my little banner. There's a couple of people popping in. I've already said Wendy, good morning, good afternoon. Rhonda, good morning, good afternoon, and blessings, and thank you very much for joining. So to start it off, I'm going to read a little bit of my upcoming book. And this is explaining, obviously, if you're interested in shamanism and stuff like that, like I said, we have previously touched on what shamanism is all about. And so if you're really keen and really interested in finding, resonating with your shamanic path, this is my advice and an extract from my book that I'm going to share with you right now. So before we go ahead, firstly, it is important to realize and understand that shamanism is not a religion, despite what the modern day world of faux shamans try to create. It is not a religion. It is a spiritual practice. Most shamans are not seeking this path. They are called to it. The summons can come from a number of ways. Shamans are tied very intensively to the earth and to creation in general. All shamans are unique. No two shamans are alike, even though we all have similarities. The shamans of old were either men or women living in the village and usually shunned by the communities they served until, of course, they're needed. Becoming a shaman is not specifically just researching, looking it up, doing the courses and saying, oh yeah, I'm now a shaman and you call yourself a shaman. Becoming a shaman is also a matter of the spirits. As you know, we are not alone. In fact, a shaman is almost secondary, okay, to the whole thing. It is actually more or less along for the ride, as we, and like I always say, is I am just a conduit. To put it into context, I'm the cable box. Spirits are the universe and the stars and the satellites. I decipher the information and flow that down and bring that on and put it onto the TV screen. And that's what we do. It's not the shaman, but the spirits who have the only power that ever allowed any shaman throughout history to effectively heal or discern or divinate. It's also the community around you or around us, such as our family, our clients, their families, friends, friends of friends, and friends of friends of friends, who will determine whether anyone is a shaman or not. It's not just something we can do by just advertising and saying that you're a shaman and putting it on social media platforms or whatever it might be. And the question that I'm going to ask anybody that wants to take the path is, why do you really want to be a shaman? Has it resonated with you? Have you been guided into it? Okay. A shaman is initiated into shamanism by either a serious illness, a near-death experience, or has the ancestral roots. Once you make the commitment to becoming a shamanic practitioner, you'll light the flyer of a tiny flame, and that will start your true journey. You will experience love at its core, love so intense and so selfless. Connecting with it makes you want to transition. However, your family becomes strangers to you. Everything you own can be taken away from you. You will live in some sense of being alone and feeling in pain and feeling the pain of everybody around you. And the term that's used around the world for shamans and shamanic practitioners is that we are wounded healers, which speaks a word of truth. As we feel the pain, we feel the hurt. And what we do with the help of spirit, of course, is we remove those blockages. But for us to remove it, we have to bring it onto us and release it with the help of spirits, our masters and our guides. So basically what I'm saying, for you to take that step as a wounded healer, you must understand that whatever's around you, there's a chance or a potential chance for you to lose it. But as I say, what no longer serves you, let it go. And people are going to look at you weird. They are going to look at you that you're strange, that you're totally out of this planet, out of your mind sometimes. And they're going to turn around to you and say, oh, well, you know, you're just the same as the $5 fortune teller at one of the state shows or the country shows or the Royal Easter show or whatever, wherever you are in the world, so you'll resonate with that. But again, it's about who you are and being true to yourself and understanding that not everybody is going to have the knowledge that you've acquired and are scared of it. So it's part of your journey to help them understand of what you do and how you do it. You're also going to get visions you can't control, illnesses that are serious yet seem to have no cause or cure. For instance, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat again. I've just gone through a severe batch of nasal infections. To the average human being or spiritual person, it'd just be a normal, mundane hay fever or sinus infection with a head cold. With me, it looks like, if you can see the video, you can see after the show, I'll show you on the video that it's actually caused black eye. So I've got a black eye from it. The pressure was so intense, the infection was so intense that it really knocked me for a 6. So be prepared to have illnesses that affect you in a way that doesn't affect a normal human being or a normal spiritual person. You're going to have brain fog, spiritual lapses, and you're going to feel like you personally are going to go into retrograde or are going through retrograde. What does retrograde mean? It means spinning around in the opposite direction. So when Mars or Venus or any planet goes into retrograde, it looks like they're going in reverse. This is how you're going to be feeling. You're going to be missing time. You're going to have time distortions. And then you awaken. I'm not going to say awaken. That's probably the wrong term to use. But you will hear, see things that are dark. You're going to see new creatures. You're going to see shadow walkers, shapeshifters, watchers, and things are going to go bump in the night. Let me tell you. But again, it's about you creating your boundaries and using herbs and crystals and what we're going to touch on in a second to protect yourself and to create the boundary, or if you wish, a force field around you. Your awareness of everything around you will begin to grow. You will see the auras. You will see the energy flow of plants, of the fauna and flora, of everything around you. Because everything around you, including crystals, are all energies. We just vibrate on a different frequency. So a solid form is just a deeper vibration. So it looks and feels solid to us. But if we were all on the same vibration, it will all be liquid and will be merged into one. So this is a way you have to look at things, especially in shamanism, is that we are one with plants, animals, creatures, things from other dimensions, the new creatures that pop up in your world, the shadow walkers, the watchers, the shapeshifters, etc., etc. And trust me, fear will seize you. Fear will take over. This isn't the normal fear, but the kind of fear that steals your breath and stops your heart. So it's not for the faint-hearted, but the rewards and the gratitude and the guidance and the spiritual harmony of being in harmony with the plants and the fauna and flora is out of this world. Literally out of this world. We can't explain it. The people around you will become transparent. You will see their true self. You'll feel their pain, their anger, their misery. Not in terms of a casual observer. You will live it in that instance. Somehow, through all the pain, sweat, blood, misery, and tears, you survive. Most do not, but for those that do, and see beyond yourself and the world, you will be a brand new person. You will risk everything for that one chance to stare into eternity, to see, to know, being transported to the spirit world and you're interacting with beings inhabiting it, meeting your spiritual guides, being devoured by some being and emerging transformed, and or being dismantled and reassembled again. Often with implanted amulets, such as magical crystals. The imaginary intuitive generally speaks of transformation and granting powers, and often entails themes of death and rebirth. Being a shaman is a way of life. It's a path of devotion, and it isn't for the weak of faint or faint of heart. It takes great courage to walk in places that offer wisdom and to walk in the footpaths of our ancestors. That time and the human race and society of today don't acknowledge anymore. It takes a fearless heart to go against the flow. And this is one of the characteristics that I've found in every shaman that I've met. We are not stronger, smarter, or braver than others. But we walk hand in hand with spirit, using our faith to guide us and trusting the relationships with our allies they have built. They see the illusion of the world and seek to heal within themselves every wound and doubt so others may learn to do the same. It's a fascinating journey, don't get me wrong. And the more we transcend our own limiting patterns, the greater capacity we have to help empower others to make the leaps in their lives that will bring them more happiness. And again, like I said, to be a shaman, we're also known as the wounded healers because we have gone through that. As I explained in a couple of my shows previously, I have ancestors that have been druids, witches, shamans. This is not my first time on this plane as a shaman. And yes, I've had the near-death experience when I was 2 years old, as it says in my book. So part of the protection or the tools that we use are obviously the drums, the rattles, the flutes, and everything else. Most shamans use plant medicine. So the shamans and spiritual seekers have been using plants for millennia. Teacher plants are a gift from the planet kingdom. A consciousness-raising medicine, if you wish. They are one of the most common, sacred ways of gaining knowledge of the universe. But bear in mind that teacher plants are not necessary for your shamanic journey. They're a tool to give you help to those who find it difficult opening to the universe. So what I'm saying in that sense is that different shamans, different cultures use plants to do their journeying. I'm not speaking against it. My personal belief is that one doesn't need to use the plant to enter or to go on your journey and to enter into the spirit world. I'm not saying anything against any other shaman that's out there. They practice it and they use it and it serves them well. Me personally, I don't do it. So some of the plants that use or induce altered states of consciousness, as well as some incenses, are aromatics. Obviously, the main one that's out there that everybody knows about is the ayahuasca. Then you've also got the cannabis, the cedar, the datura, the deadly nightshade, the fly agaric, the ginseng weed, the morning glory, the psychedelic mushrooms, peyote, sage, obviously we use a lot of. And then obviously in Mexico they use the San Pedro cactus, sweetgrass, and then also tobacco. But I must give you a word of caution. These plants, and when you do use these plants, must be taken in the presence of a shaman and with the guidance of a master of the plants in a safe and sound environment. Every one of you, whoever uses it, will have your own unique experience, and teacher plants, as we call them, should only be with the greatest degree and used with the greatest degree of respect. So we've got a couple of people in the chat room. I'm just going to go through quickly before we continue. We've got Susan. Good morning, Susan. Wendy said good morning already. Karen, good morning. Rhonda, good morning. Susan has a question. I've always been drawn to shamanism, but was never sure why, even at an early age, before I really even understood what it was. Absolutely, you do have shamanic roots, Susan. We've had interactions on different platforms previously, and I do feel a very strong pull to your shamanic side, and I do believe that everybody has shamanic roots, as obviously we've come down to earth. And shamanism is an earth-based medicine. So yes, I do strongly believe, and if, like I said, if you want to go through a shamanic experience or shamanic journey, please do private message me and make an appointment. More than happy to take anybody down and show you and give you a chance to experience a shamanic journey. This will help you understand what it's all about and where it comes from, and if it really resonates with you. But it also will create a stronger base for you to obviously connect to Mother Earth and connect to the universe, hence heightening your gifts that you've already got, if that makes any sense. Another question that I've got is, Jonathan, can someone go through a shamanic awakening, so to speak, and not fully realize what's going on? Absolutely. Absolutely. People can obviously go through awakenings all the time. My wife had her awakening a couple of months and didn't really understand what was going on. But again, if you think you have, I would suggest contacting a shaman or a shamanic practitioner, be it anywhere in the world, and trying to connect and resonate and ask questions. Identify what you think was a shamanic awakening or a spiritual awakening, and the shaman in any genre of spiritualism can help you on it. Another question that we got is, do you know intuitively what plants to use? Absolutely. I'm always guided by spirit on what herbs and plants that are needed and required. It's also, it's part of being guided, and I personally am not a doctor. I don't like using the phrase a medical practitioner, because even though shamans are of earth medicine, we are guided and gifted the knowledge from our ancestors and from spirit on what plants and herbs to use in any situation. But in saying that as well is, if I've had 10 or 15 people come in with the same elements and stuff like that, obviously resonating with that element, you can identify which herbs to use or which crystals. So yes, intuitively, we are gifted, obviously, with what needs to be used. Because again, and I'll say it again and again and again, I am not the one, or a shaman is not the one that does the healing. We're just the conduit. We are guided by spirit, and shamanic healing is spirit-driven work, which does combine a powerful method to help you make profound and effective changes in your life, restoring balance, harmony, and a sense of well-being. But it's just not a question of the shaman, with the help of the ancestors and the guides and the spirits, of doing the healing. You as a client, or your clients, be it shamanic, be it Reiki, or any other healing or spiritual healing, has to make the commitment and must intend to be healed, otherwise it won't work. The herbs and the plants and even the crystals that I get to use are sourced ethically, because everything is living, everything is energy, and one must respect it. So a very close friend of mine here in Australia, Stephanie, she's a medicine woman and another shaman. We communicate on near enough a weekly basis, and she did a video a couple of days ago. And I'd actually love to bring her on the show because her passion is absolutely astounding. And she was talking about herbs and the herbs that she grows, the tobacco, etc., even though it's illegal to grow tobacco in Australia. Everybody does it, especially if we, as shamans, use it. We grow it or we source it from an ethical source. So even when you buy your white sage, even when you buy your Palo Santos, you need to make sure that the company or the person that you're buying from understands where the source is and understands where his product or her product has come from. And if it has been sourced ethically. Palo Santos is a holy tree. And I use Palo Santos quite a lot. I use white sage as well, and then I use a couple of other smudges. But when I'm doing cleansing and healings, a lot of people use white sage, where I use Palo Santos. And Palo Santos, like I said, is a holy wood. It's got a very sweet smell. It is absolutely beautiful. And if you haven't got any, private message me, because I do sell it. I'm not trying to make any more business. On Facebook, go onto Jonathan Wolf Facebook page and private message me, and I'll be more than happy to sell you some, because I know where mine's come from. Then we also have the other herbs, and the herbs that I use. And in the video, I showed quite a few people the different varieties of herbs that I've got. And obviously, we use them to treat different ailments. So we've got things like bay leaf, which everybody knows you can buy in the supermarket, but I don't buy mine in the supermarket. I source mine from a herbalist who only does herbs for spiritual use. So I know that she either grows them or she collects them from Mother Earth with the utmost of respect and gratitude of receiving her gift. So mullein, mugwort, bay leaf, damenia, there's numerous herbs. Oak moss is another one. Lady's mantle is another one. If you don't understand what they are, just Google them. You'll find the benefits of using herbs and nature's gift, Mother Earth's gift. And again, different cultures around the world use different herbs. You've got, in America, you've got different types of herbs than we have here in Australia, and vice versa. In the UK, there's different herbs or herbs. There's in Asia, there's different herbs. The Chinese medicine that Rhonda mentioned, Li Chunyun was a Chinese herbalist that lived to be 256 years old. Was he also what we call now today a shaman? So herbalists and shamans, obviously different cultures have different meanings. So medicine men, medicine woman. An herbalist is not necessarily a shaman or a medicine man or medicine woman. But as there are many out there today that are just herbalists in different genres of spirituality, being witches, Wiccans, pagans, shamans. I mean, all of us, really. Just because we grow or sell doesn't make us a shaman. So, but again, without knowing too much about Lee Chun Yun, I can't really know. I don't really know if he was a shaman or not. But I feel the energy that resonates around the name, that he did have a lot of respect, and he did have a lot of honor and gratitude for the gift that the earth has given us. And this is the same with everything. That we're all one, we're all equal. So if you do grow your own herbs and you do, buy herbs, make sure that it is sourced ethically. Make sure that if you do grow it, it's about obviously taking it with gratitude, with love and respect, and honoring the plant or the rock or the earth that gave you what it gave you. And then using it to its true intent with that energy and the vibration behind it and the honor and respect. And then what we like to do as shamans as well is we like to give back. So once, if we do grow our own herbs and stuff like that, or we do receive a batch of white sage or Palo Santos or whatever it might be, is that I'll do a little ritual and put it back into the earth. It's where the old Christian saying comes in, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Or the other way around. I don't really know. Whatever we take, we must give back. And it's not, taking is the wrong word to use, because we don't take, we're gifted. And we use it. So obviously with the herbs that we use, there's different ways you can use it. There's obviously in what the Sangomas of South Africa and South Africans call, which is a muti, which is medicine. We'll mix obviously different varieties of herbs for any type of ailments. And then it can be administered exactly the same as modern day pharmaceuticals, which are lab-generated chemicals. The other way is obviously putting it in your food, putting it in, tea, etc., and drinking it. It can be used as a rub, it can be used, so there's different things and different ways you can use it at all the time. Okay. Rhonda, there's nothing to be sorry about. I don't know why you're being sorry. Just a comment that you got on there on the Facebook chat page. Nothing to be sorry about. Honestly, there's, from what I can see, if I said something incorrectly, I do apologise to you. So going back onto the vervain as such, okay, culinary properties of vervain, which is also known as the Yerba de Santa Ana, the enchanter's plant, herb of the cross, Juno's tears, pigeon grass, pigeon wood, can be used in like I said, in culinary properties. So the flowers maybe add a little bit of salt for several days to flavour So the salt can be used to season the foods. It can also be, and again, put in casseroles and stews and all that kind of stuff, and then also made into an infusion, so you to drink as an iced tea or a hot tea or whatever it might be. So vervain itself, and what we use it for, is used traditionally for many conditions, including stimulation of lactation, treatment of gout, kidney stones, headaches, depression, anxiety, insomnia. So there's multiple purposes for one specific herb. Lady Mantle is another one, which is obviously, being a lady, it's a feminine plant. The element that is associated to it is water. And it's also known as dew cup, nine hooks, lion's foot, bear's foot, Madonna's cloak. So there's numerous names wherever you are in the world for one specific herb. We use these for treatments of wounds, gastrointestinal complaints, and female ailments. When using it in food and stuff like that, it's not very tasty. But you can make the young leaves and use them in salads, if you wish. Exactly the same way as that you'd use the baby spinach or the English spinach. Throw a couple of these leaves in there, and it'll have the same effect. Mullein is another one, also known as Adam's flannel, beggar's blanket, a blanket herb, blanket leaf, etc., etc. Again, the gender of this plant or this herb is feminine. The element is fire. We use these to flavour liqueurs or teas. Could also be used and infused with an oil, and also used as a dye. It can produce a yellow or green dye, so you can use it in your clothes. This is a widely used herbal remedy and used for coughs, whooping cough, tuberculosis, bronchitis, hoarseness, pneumonia, earaches, colds, flus, chills, swine flu, etc., etc. So before you go to a medical practitioner or a doctor, and you feel the need that you need to be more connect, I'd say consult a shaman or a medicine man or a medicine woman. And if you're a firm believer in herbals and herbal medicine, please do give them a go. But again, a warning. They should always be used as directed and used only when you know the true intent of the shaman or the person that is giving them to you. And only use them again if you know what it's all about and you've been explained what the process is. And again, respect the herb, respect the plant, respect the earth. So when you have used it, it's just not a question of throwing it in the trash. If you want to show respect to the plant of relieving you from your ailments, is that passing it back and giving it back to Mother Earth. by holding either a fire ceremony or burying it and doing a small ceremony with it. So it's all about respect. So we also use a lot more herbs, and if you need any more information or if anybody wants to consult me in any of your ailments, I'm more than happy to do that, and send you some mixes and herbal mixes that I'll do up to help you with whatever ailments that you do have. And I'll say, give it a go. See how you feel. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that the magic of Earth and the magic of what Earth has to offer can be a lot more beneficial than lab-created drugs. That's my personal opinion. Yes, I do personally still take a headache tablet or something like that every now and then, because the restraints of modern day society do take it out, and then yeah, it just goes on and goes on. But 9 times out of 10, I'll always try and go to my herbal plants to get what I need from them, and sit with my guides and sit with my spirits to help me heal myself. So give it a go. See what you think. Connect with me. Ask me questions. Susan first. I would do something similar. Wherever I use something from Earth, I give it back. I always plant a flower or something in return, and always gives thanks. And I always give thanks. That's perfect, Susan. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So if you do grow your own herbs for cooking, like your cilantros, basil, whatever it might be, when you do use a bit of the plant, always respect the plant. I mean, people in the spiritual world, like all of us, people ask me all the time, are you vegan or vegetarian and stuff like that? I'll turn around to them and say, no, I'm not. But I do eat, nowadays I eat a lot more vegetables, and I do respect the vegetables and try and get organic all the time. But over here in Australia, it's extremely expensive to buy naturally, and organic products. And where I'm currently at the moment, my father-in-law used to have a little vegetable patch and everything, and make his own vegetables and tomatoes and stuff like that. And the flavors that you just get from that is out of this world. I tend not to. Sometimes I am forced to go to a supermarket and get store-bought products and stuff like that. But then again, it's showing that the same respect as that you do when you grow it. That needs to be done. And it's the same with meat. When I go to a butcher or something like that, I try to buy organic. I try and make sure that any of the meat, fish or chicken or whatever it might be is raised in an environment, and it's organic. A little bit more expensive, but makes me feel a little bit better when I do eat meat. And then I respect it as well. I give thanks. And that's what it's all about. It's about creating the balance and the harmony around you, and respecting where your food and the herbs and everything else that you do that comes into your life is respected, love, and you're grateful for it. Absolutely agree with you, Rhonda. The pharmaceutical industry is not about curing. It's all about making money. And that's the sad point, is that people ask me all the time as well, is why aren't herbs used in modern day medicine? And one answer to that is there's not enough money in using natural products to make a big enough profit. That's all I'm going to say on that, because I can go on for hours and hours and hours on that one. But I won't. Okay, so Earth Magic, even for thyroid issues. Charity, absolutely yes. I'm even going to say for cancers. I'm even going to say for psychological problems. As Maria says in her show a couple of weeks ago, it was about negativity. And shamans, we're a firm believer that negativity creates illness and ill health. And there was a study done that's been going around for Facebook for a couple of months now, that they had 2 pieces of food, and I can't remember what it was, in 2 different jars. And one was basically shouted at with negative thoughts for a period of 21 days, and the other one was blessed and loved and respected and honored. And the difference between the 2 was like chalk and cheese. The one that was treated negatively was black, moldy, rotten, and the one that was praised, loved, honored, and respected flourished into a beautiful piece of vegetation. So yes, I'm going to say, for any issues or ailments, Earth Magic, Earth Medicine can help. A very good friend of mine who's a shaman down in Peru, Christian Adams, he went down into Peru and lived there for the last 12 months. He's going back next year, and they have a shamanic camp where outsiders, being us, that have ailments such as cancer, go down. There was a huge documentary or film a couple of years back about it, about 12 people going into a shaman camp. Unfortunately, some of them didn't survive, but some of them did. So a shaman can help, obviously, because it is spirit-driven work, and the Earth Magic and Earth Medicine, or plant medicine, whatever you want to name it. But it's also the intention of the person that's got the negativity, got the ailment, to release it, and for it not to hold you and constrain you to what it thinks you should be. Okay, so there's a couple more questions. When I say old days, I mean like lifetimes ago. I agree with that. Yes, old days is different lifetimes, and I feel that with you, Susan, yes. Yes, it did. One lived and grew and flourished, and the other basically crumbled and got rotten. So if you haven't seen it before, go on Facebook and have a look. And try to find the video of the 2 pieces of, I think it was fruit or vegetables or something like that they used. And there was another study with water, with different crystals and stuff like that in water. And then if you can, go onto YouTube and Google, or search for the 12 Go Into Shaman Camp, I think it's called, or something like that, and watch it, because it's very interesting. Okay, we've only got 6 minutes left. Wow, time flies. So I'm going to touch broadly or basically on I've done a lot of work on herbs, even though I haven't touched on a lot of it. It's explaining what it was all about and how we use it and how we can use it within the modern day world, instead of using modern chemicals and modern fertilizers and stuff like that. It's the same with, when I'm brushing my teeth, I use an ethically sourced product to brush my teeth, which is chemical-free, fluoride-free, and it's 100% natural. It's not a charcoal one, I can't remember what the name is, but it's got no chemicals, no man-made substance in it. Because fluoride is a big factor as well. And I'm not going to go too much into that because that's a whole radio show on its own. But it's about, I don't think it has got baking soda, but baking soda is a really good one to brush your teeth with. But yeah, I don't think this one's got baking soda in it. There's no man-made products in it. So I'll have a look and then I'll put it on Facebook so you can have a look. So I'm going to touch quickly on the crystals that I use. Obviously, smoky quartz I use a lot of. Smoky quartz helps with, drawing out the negativity and removing the negativity. I use agate or agate, and I gift a lot of crystals out to my clients when I do a reading or a healing session, and the client needs a specific crystal. I will gift them a crystal to help them, as well as herbs. And I use the crystals in my drinking water, which is filtered through a 48 sections of filtration system, which is a desktop, tabletop water filter, which removes fluoride and every other chemicals that the government use to, or the human race, not the government, or it is the government, but that's another story on its own. And then I charge them with different types of crystals, depending on what needs to be used and what I feel I need or what my clients need. So agate I use for strength and courage. Amethyst for calming and intuition. You've got the blue kyanite, that is obviously for connection. Aquamarine for clarity and purification. Again, blue lace agate, purification and communication. We've got blue quartz for calming. Clear calcite, which amplifies and cleanses. I use a lot of that. Golden calcite for joy. Carnelian for warmth. So vitalizing your energy and your emotional and the mental bodies, strengths and stuff like that. Used for motivation as well. Chevron amethyst, spirituality, intuition. Citrine is for revitalizing and cleansing. Clear quartz, obviously energizing. The desert rose, helping with all things possible. Fire agate, courage and protection. Fluorite, again for focus and protection. Green aventurine is emotional tranquility. Green jade, which is very hard to get a hold of nowadays, which is for emotional balance. Hematite, energizing and vitalizing. Jasper, balance and stability. Laterite for spiritual connection. The Lemurian seeded crystal or quartz crystal is, I have plenty of them. I've got a couple of record keepers as well. This is for wisdom. And again, when you're buying your gemstones and stuff like that, I use only one person, if I can, over here in Australia. He's called Simon Brooks. He does ship internationally. Check him out on Facebook. I know where all his crystals come from and how they sourced. And if he doesn't tell me where they come from and where they source from, I ask a question, and he's very open and honest about it all. And again, it's when a crystal no longer serves you, pass it on. Put it back to Mother Earth. Or if it's meant to go to somebody else, pass it on with blessings and gratitude that it served you and it's given you what lessons you need to learn. So there's a lot of crystals out there that we use for different ailments and different issues that people have that can help you. So if you need more about crystals, or you need to do crystal journeying and stuff like that, more than happy to private message me and book a session with me through my website, jonathanwolf.com.au, or through Facebook, Jonathan Wolf, or through Beacon of Light Radio. Just send me a private message. I can make an appointment. I can talk to you about the herbs. I can talk to you about crystals or shamanism in general to help you on your journey, whatever you like. I am here for you. I'm here to serve, and that's what I'm all about. So I hope from today's show you got a little bit better understanding of what it's like to be a shaman in the first instance and starting your true journey, and then identifying with the different herbs that are out there that we can use to better ourselves and to respect Mother Earth and to use the gifts that were given to us and respect those gifts that are given to us and honor them. And also with the crystals, because they're only gifts. Even though we buy them, they're still gifted to us. So respect everything around you. Respect you, love yourself, and love everything around you the same way you would like to be loved. I'm going to leave you all in love and blessings and respect each and every one of you for joining me on this show and for all the comments. I really appreciate it. And if anybody's, like I said, got any further questions, please do private message me or just send me an email at contact at jonathanwolf.com.au or via my website, which is www.jonathanwolf.com.au, or through Facebook or through Beacon of Light Radio. So I love you and leave you in blessings and gratitude and respect your journeys as I respect mine, and wish you a fruitful and prosperous journey. Blessings.